Hello, class. This message is for History 101, fall of 2021. And I wanted to take this opportunity to explain to you in detail what I expect on your local history paper project, which is due on November 21st of next month. So at this point, late October, you really should be starting to put together your rough draft. By this point, you should have completed your research and really start writing and preparing for your final draft later on. Now, let me review some of these directions so everybody is clear on what I expect in this paper. In your research, you must find at least 10 sources, which isn't very many when you're researching in detail a specific local topic such as you all are. And 2 of those resources must be primary. Now, within the class course documents, I explain the difference between, what a primary source is, and there are many places to find them, especially online today at different libraries and other research centers. So, 10 sources, 2 must be primary, the rest can be secondary. And when you are writing your paper also, you need to cite these sources. And most of you will probably use MLA as your citation method. Some of you may use the Chicago method. That's the method I was trained to use when I went to college, because that's typically the method that historians use, but I don't expect you to learn how to use the Chicago, or sometimes it's known as Turabian. You can use whatever method you're familiar with and what you've been trained to do. But you have to cite your sources. Now, if you haven't had much experience with it, you guys have it made today. There are several different websites that will assist you. You even punch in things and they'll tell you what to do as far as an endnote, footnote, in-text note, and how to put together a citation page, which you're also going to have to do at the end of your paper. After the regular paper, you'll have a works cited page, or citation page, as it's known. Now, as far as the paper itself, the minimum length for your paper is 6 pages of content. A 6-page paper in college is not a very long paper, and you need to get in the habit of being able to write at least a 6-page paper. Those of you that transfer and go on to get your bachelor's degree when you're juniors and seniors, you're going to be writing 10 to 20-page papers pretty routinely. And if you go to graduate school, then it's a whole different ballpark. You're going to be writing the equivalent of small books in graduate school. So, it has to be 6 pages of content. And what I mean about that, that's text. Not counting any pictures or graphics that you may embed into your paper. Not counting the title page. Not counting the citation page. 6 pages of your writing. And there are specific requirements for that formatting that are clearly stated in the directions also. But I'm going to review them with you to make sure that you all understand. Your paper has to be spaced multiple 1.15. The reason why I use that specific spacing, that's Microsoft Word default. So if you don't fool around with these settings, your paper should be just fine. And the maximum font size is 12. I don't care which font you use, whatever you like. Everybody's got their own favorite font. But it has to be a maximum of 12. So let me warn you right now, something I have absolutely no patience for whatsoever. Don't try to play tricks with the formatting. Leave Microsoft Word alone. Don't fool with the margins, the headers, and so forth. And certainly make sure it's multiple 1.15. I don't want a paper that's spaced 1.5, 2 double spaced. I want specifically multiple 1.15. If you turn in something else, and believe me, I can see it right away, I'll reformat it, which typically makes the paper much shorter, and you'll be penalized for not having the required number of pages. So save me and yourself trouble. Follow these directions specifically and don't fool around with the formatting. Now, a couple of other things. You've all either have English 101 or you're currently taking it. You know what goes into a paper like this. You have to give me a formal introduction, your thesis, the body of your paper, and your conclusion. Now, a couple of other things that I'll point out. Wikipedia is not an acceptable source for this paper. So I better not see it in your citation page or you citing Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not accepted by history departments all across the country because Wikipedia is not an accurate source. Anyone can manipulate the thing, and a lot of times it can contain false information. Might be a good place to start if you don't know anything about a topic, but you certainly don't cite it in a history paper. Now, a couple other hints. I've had students in the past think they can get away with copying and pasting stuff and embedding it in their paper. Believe me, I can sniff that out too. The writing will be completely different than yours, and all of a sudden I'll be reading your style of writing, and then there'll be a completely different, more sophisticated style of writing. I'll copy and paste that and go and find exactly where you took it from, and that's plagiarism. Now, you can paraphrase sources, and you must cite them, but you can't simply just go onto the internet, start copying and pasting stuff, put it together, string it together, and think it's your paper. That's not a college paper. I don't know if they let you do that in high school, but if they did, they shouldn't have. So, just read these directions over again. Make sure you follow the directions in detail. And as typical in all of my classes, no late papers will be accepted, period. You've known when the due date for this paper was all the way back in August. And you still have more than 3 weeks to complete it. So there's absolutely no excuse for a late paper. So I look forward to reading these papers. I am a local history enthusiast myself. I know a great deal about most of the topics you're writing about. Every so often there'll be one that I don't, which makes it even more interesting for me. But I usually always learn something every round of papers about local topics that I didn't know before. So they're very useful to me, too. I love learning new things, and as you'll find out, if you don't know this already, I don't care how old you are, you learn something new every single day. It's not just a cliche or a saying. Believe me, I do. And that's what makes life exciting. So, I look forward to reading your papers. If you have any questions whatsoever while you're doing this, email me and I'll steer you in the correct direction. So I hope everybody's safe and healthy. I look forward to reading these. Take care.